Hi everyone, nice to see you all. Happy Monday. Let's chat a little bit of cryptos. There is some good stuff going on today and this week, and I know a lot of people. I get asked questions on a pretty regular basis. Where in the world are these cryptos going? And I always have this to say about it. I have no idea. No, actually, I do. I feel like I have a pretty good idea where the cryptos are headed. Because they have behaved pretty well in relation to what I've been looking for. So it makes me feel good about me. Okay, just kidding. I'm not Stuart Little over here. I mean, I kind of am a little bit. But anyways, it gives us, the cryptos are behaving themselves, needless to say. Cryptos are behaving themselves pretty well, and we can follow along with this movement and see some pretty good stuff. So have a look. Don't hesitate to type over any questions. Welcome to everybody that's watching so far. Ryan Judd, like Guatemala Ryan Judd. That's you, man. Nice to see you. Welcome. And Vivica Stark, I believe. That's been 100 years since we last spoke. Good to see you. Welcome, guys. Geez, good to see everybody. Shoot over your questions, though. Don't even hesitate to ask anything, because we're going to look at it. Now, if you have some crazy cryptos you're watching that I don't know about, I won't try to comment too much on those, because I'll need to, a little bit of time to look at them and make sure that I have a good understanding of how, something else is behaving. But for the most part, the majors, like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Ripple, Litecoin, and so on, they're reacting pretty well to some levels that we're looking at. Yeah, Ryan, good to see you, man. Good to see you. It's only been maybe like 15 years, so I know we've all been circling around the social media circle here, but geez, man, Guatemala's been a long time. Good to see you. Okay, guys, so here's a few things I'm looking at. Anybody that's holding on to some Bitcoin, anybody that's holding on to some Ethereum or some Ripple, or better yet, if you're sitting in a bunch of dollars, I've only got a couple of bucks right now in the market. Just a few dollars, and I'm sitting on the sidelines, and I'm waiting for some levels to get hit. I'm sitting on, a nice little chunk that I think is pretty darn close to putting in. So I am getting ready to have a little peek at that one. Ryan, interesting you ask about Tron. I've heard a lot of people talk about Tron and kind of discuss it, and we can look at that. We can look at that. Tron, I believe Tron is still sitting at fractions of a penny. Right? I haven't looked at Tron since probably last week, but it's worth having a peek at. Remind me the symbol on Tron, and I'll go check it out. It's like XTR, or I don't know, something like. I'll go look at Tron. I'll have a peek at that. Yeah. Send over the symbol when you get a second, or I can look it up at the moment. But let's have a little peek at some of the majors here, like Bitcoin, for example. Now, I've talked about a couple of levels along the way. So weeks and weeks and weeks ago, even months ago, almost months ago now that we're kind of getting there, I discussed buying Bitcoin at 10.5, and that was a couple weeks before this dip right here. We hit 10.5. It ran from 10,400 up to 17,000. So, 70% gain, no problem on that little movement. The next level I talked about on this one was looking for 9,000. So we hit 9,000, and it ran from 9,000 up to about 13,000. So, not quite as violent of a gain as that $10,000 run. And then now I've been, my last level that I talked about, this is kind of an update of an update of an update. The last level I talked about was 73 to 8,300, kind of that 73 to maybe even 8,000 level. We had this low right here. We hit about just below 7,600. And we got that run up to, 90, 95, 96. So $2,000 run. Now, my overall target and the area that I really want to buy Bitcoin, that I kind of want to get in up to my eyeballs in Bitcoin, is about 5,000. I think we're going to have a run down into, 4 to 5,000, and that's where I'm going to be looking to get in. Now, when I say these ranges, right, I've had some really specific levels on things like Bitcoin, 10,500, boom, buy there, and it hit it almost to the penny. 9,000, hit it to the penny. And then some of these other levels are kind of just ranges. And for anybody that is a bit of a trader, you'll kind of know what confirmation looks like. So when we say a range, like say 4,000 to 5,000, to know what that confirmation looks like, you have to have a little bit of trading experience. I'll be kind of posting videos and updates as we go, and we'll be able to kind of talk about where the best entry is there. For those that aren't traders, that are just kind of wanting to buy in a little bit, that's cool too. We can definitely do some of that. But for this kind of $4,000 to $5,000 range, the reason that I'm looking at that area is because there's all these. Again, this is kind of trader talk, and if you're not a trader, just bear with me here for a moment. These are what we call imbalances, and this is where markets take off and they leave kind of out of balance levels, right? When something shoots up too strongly or shoots down too strongly, it leaves kind of a out of equilibrium market, and that's what happened right around this $4,000 to $5,000 range. And that's why that's why I call these my big deal targets, because these are levels that, there was all this just sideways movement in Bitcoin, and then it went nuts, right? Everybody said, buy everything, and it ran up. Well, it left these levels down there, and we are definitely making our way back down towards those levels. So I think we're going to have some pretty awesome opportunities between about, like I said, $4,000 to $5,000, but it could be higher, and that's where I'm going to have to wait for some confirmation. But again, for those that are kind of traders a little bit, all this is just a channel. It's making highs and lows and highs and lows, and it may not make that low all the way down into that $4,000 to $5,000 range. It might, it might double bottom. It might, we might get a little hop here and a little bounce, and then a continuation higher, something along those lines. But I'm just kind of watching this downward movement. The characteristic here that Bitcoin is doing is it's making, here's a high right here, and there's a lower high, and lower highs, and lower highs, and and so on. So it's just kind of, the highs are just not as high as the last one, and the lows are a little lower than the last one, and so we're kind of in that movement. So even if we get a little bit of a spike up, it could still just be a lower high compared to these guys and make one more stab lower. So I'm just patiently sitting on the sidelines. I'll happily get into Bitcoin late after it's bottomed out. In trading, if you have any experience in trading, the age-old lesson, which is 100% true, is don't try to call tops and bottoms. Now, I have to pat myself on the back a little bit because I did it a couple of times here, but it's risky business, and I definitely don't recommend doing it. So tops and bottoms are impossible to find except for by sheer luck and a little bit of skill. So, but more luck. So I found some good bottoms there, but I'm not, that's why there's a range. This $4,000 to $5,000 range looks pretty good for just buying. And if it goes lower, I'm okay with that. But that's where I want to start getting in on Bitcoin and buying into that thing. So we're seeing a lot of sell-off on the cryptos because China came out this morning, or China morning, several hours ago, and said they're going to try to ban everything cryptocurrency. And I don't know. I'm not too worried about that. I don't think that's going to have much traction. Bitcoin is like, cryptocurrencies are like this massive, freeway, right? And it's just, these countries are kind of trying to step in the middle of the freeway, and they're going to get run over. Now, as somebody said, a buddy of mine, I was chatting with him, and he had the best analogy, I think, is that what these governments are going to do is try to create some difficulty with the on-ramps and off-ramps of the freeway. But, they can't get rid of the freeway. And so these cryptos are here. They're in it for the long haul, but it's going to be, a little bit of a bumpy road from time to time. And China is definitely trying to do that. So anyways, $4,000 to $5,000. What I want to see is some sort of pattern down here, some sort of bottoming out, where you start to see some consolidation, a little bit of bouncing around, hitting the same level without going lower. I'm going to be looking for that kind of stuff before I start buying in. But just know that area that I want to buy into Bitcoin is, $5,000, maybe a hair lower into the $4,000 range. So that's Bitcoin. I'll skip over here to Ethereum for just a moment. This is a big one. Here's where everybody's concern is with Ether, is that, look at this right here. January of 2017, Ethereum was sitting right around, well, if we go back to real January here, Ethereum was like at about $10, give or take a dollar or two. They're about $10. And then by the end of the year, there's December. Well, here's December, January. So in about a year, it went from about $10 to about $1,400. So that's a lot of percentages. Bitcoin went from about, just shy of $1,000 to about $20,000. Bitcoin went up by about 20 times. Ethereum went up by 100 plus times, I think. My math is right. Anyways, it went up a lot more percentage-wise than Bitcoin did. And so there's kind of that, okay, this one's way more overextended than Bitcoin. And that could be true. So here's what I'm looking for. Here's my buy zone on Ethereum. If we got down into $400, I would feel pretty darn fantastic about buying into that. It's already in the $600 range, so $400 to $600 range is kind of what I'm looking for. But I need confirmation. I need a good reason to buy in the $600 range. Pretty much in the $400 range, I'm just going to buy. And if it continues lower, I don't really care. But there's a pretty nice little technical reason. Same thing as we had on Bitcoin. We have this, we just kind of have this channel. Runs down, runs up, runs down, probably going to run up a little bit. Run down, ran out of mouse space, and then, hopefully start to give us some good buying opportunities there. So $400, if I'm not going to put all, every penny I have in at $400. If it runs down to $400, I'm going to buy into it. If it runs down to $200, I'm going to buy into it some more, and just be prepared to kind of get in. But that's kind of the earlier time I'm going to get in. $5,000 is kind of where I'll start looking for pretty aggressive entries on Bitcoin. $500, kind of middle of this zone on Ethereum is a good spot to start looking at. Now, you might be wondering, why am I looking at some of the bigger ones? The majors are going to have, probably some more staying power than some of these other ones. We're going to look at Tron, for example, but, fractions of a penny. We gotta be careful with those really, really low-cost, cheap ones because, they can go out as easily as they came in. So that's where I'm kind of just looking at some of the bigger ones and the big levels that we can work with there. So, $400 to $600. The lower we get to that range, the more aggressive I'll get with my entries. The higher we are in that range, the more confirmation I'm going to want to have before jumping in. So that's what I'm looking for on Ethereum. It's dropping nicely. There's great levels down here. $400 would be heavenly, and I would gladly buy into that like crazy. So that's Ethereum. One of my personal favorites is XRP. This is Ripple. And Ripple's a good one. Ripple's a real good one. As you can see, Ripple was sitting here at 20 cents for a pretty long time. So 20, we kind of bounced around. We had some highs of about 40 cents and some lows of about 13 cents for quite a while. That takes us all the way back into early 2017. And then it went nuts, right? Just like everything else, end of the year rolled along and just went crazy. It went from, December, just in the last couple of months, Ripple went from 25 cents to $3.35, and now it's back down again. So I'm definitely interested in this 60-cent level, and we're just about there. We're at 64 cents. I'm going to buy in. I'm going to put some positions on Ripple at 60 cents. And it will probably keep dropping. And I'm going to put some more positions at 40 cents and 20 cents and just kind of keep buying into this thing. So I really like Ripple. I think this is a good one. But I think starting to scale in for me, 60 cents will be the next buy-in, and then 40 cents and 20 cents. So 60, 40, 20, not for lack of imagination. That's just actually where I want to be getting in. So those are kind of that 20 to 60 cent range is where I'm just going to be putting some positions in, putting a few, buying a couple of Ripple coins and letting it cook, and buying a few more if it dips down some more. So that's what I'm going to be looking at there. As far as so Ripple, Ether, Bitcoin, those are all some good levels to look at. Tron, let me see what we have on Tron. I forget Tron, what is there? Give me some give me some stuff here. What do we have on? Is it XR? What is? Remind me. Tron coin. Yes. What is that? TRX. There we go. That's okay. Tron. Okay. Let's see if we can find some of this right here. So Tron's trading at 2 cents, and this one. Let's see. This chart looks different than I remember, but is this the one? Are you still on with us here, Ryan? Is this one you were looking at? Anyway, Tron is an interesting one because I think this one is so early on. A lot of people are talking about this, and it's had some wild reactions. It's gone kind of crazy, and so it's going to be There are definitely some levels to watch down below, like 0, but something like this that's just dropping hard. This is where we want to see, this is where we want to see some confirmation. This is where we want to see this thing starting to take out some highs and starting to kind of solidify in those lows. We have a lot of history on some of these other ones and some really strong levels that have been hit, but it is a little bit tricky and risky to kind of get on those. So yeah, Tron, just let this one kind of bottom out wherever it's going to bottom out and start buying some breakouts, some trend line breakouts. And I'll update on this and let everybody know kind of where things are looking interesting and what might be happening there and so on. But yeah, I think that's a good one for Zetron. Good. Yeah. Okay. So. Yeah, I mean, like I said, this stuff is what, we want to see this kind of thing happen here on some of these that are selling off hard, like this one right here. We want to see this kind of stuff, and then breakouts. We want to start getting this above trend lines and start getting it to move in that upward direction there. So yeah, I think there's some good possibilities there, but it's going to be probably a bit of a bumpy ride. So just keep that in mind. Be careful. Don't buy in too soon. Some of these other big money ones should be a little easier to kind of scale into. But I think that's a good little area to watch for. So those are the ones I'm keeping an eye on. I definitely like Ripple, Bitcoin, and Ethereum right now. I think those are goodies. Litecoin's even making. I don't really trade this one much. It's it's dropped off a lot, and since the Litecoin founder dumped all of his positions in like December, it's really sold off. So we had that high about December, and he said, hey, you know what, I'm just going to get rid of everything at like $300 and something, or at least in the high 200s. I think it was like 300. He got rid of everything at like $300, and here it is at 116. So the founder of Litecoin has sold off all of his positions and made millions and millions, and people are happy to pay for it. But now we kind of have this type of a scenario that I want to see, get taken care of. I like Litecoin around $80. I think $80 is a pretty safe area to start looking at some potential entries. But for the moment, I'm just sitting on the sidelines on this one and letting it drop a little bit more, and maybe buy in on that big dip there. So $80, $80 and $60 are kind of two interesting levels I'd be watching for. So anyways, okay, that's it for me. That's my little update on the cryptos. Any questions, let me know. Shoot me over a comment, an email, anything. I'll chat about anything you want. If you have questions to get in further involved in the cryptos, I'm happy to help there as well. So just let me know. But hopefully that was helpful. Thanks for jumping in, guys. Nice to see everybody. Thanks for the comments and questions. And yeah, I'll have another update on this coming, in the next day or two. Thanks, guys.